Give it to me. Hi, and welcome back to the Inside of My Head, where I'm looking at Skull Island, Birth of Kong, as a little bonus video to my series recapping and reviewing the Monsterverse. This is a look into Kong's origins on Skull Island, and we see the decline of the Kong race and the death of Kong's parents. So Birth of Kong starts with a recorder being found in the ocean in a monarch bag. The recorder finds its way to Houston Brooks, and you know what I just figured out? It's this guy from Skull Island, and who's also a very smiley Miles Dyson in King of the Monsters, and also this random guy who gives Emma a pep talk in Godzilla Aftershock. This is all the same character. Woo! I figured something out! Anyway, Houston finds a log detailing his estranged son's mission to Skull Island. His son's name is Aaron, and we flash back to his expedition where his Osprey crash lands on Skull Island after being attacked by these Psychovultures, which I'm guessing are these same things from GVK, and that can obviously zap lightning out of their mouths. We didn't see that in GVK, which made me wonder if they were actually the same creature, but they look pretty similar, right? We see some new creature called Leaf Wings, which are much less aggressive cousins of the Psychovultures, before the group get chased by Death Jackals before being saved by Kong. Boo! Death Jackals are cannibalistic creatures ranging from 6 to 12 feet tall with a partly exposed spine, beneath a mane of spike fibers that are as sharp as razor wire. And these sound like nasty little bastards. They've even been known to eat off parts of their own anatomy if there's nothing else around to eat. Nom nom nom. Anyway, after the Death Jackal attack, our group are licking their wounds in a cave where they meet some iwis, which although they never usually do, this one talks and speaks English. Maybe this expedition left their Rosetta Stone behind. I don't know. They go back to the iwi settlement, and one of the group develops a taste for the iwi's brew. Damn, look at it, he loves that shit. Which has hallucinogenic effects. I love Trevor! And that gives us these flashbacks of Skull Island millions of years ago, where the Kongs were a thriving tribe until the emergence of the Skullcrawlers. The expedition members get painted up like iwis. Not peewees, iwis! The expedition members get painted up like iwis and go on a pilgrimage of sorts, a tour of the island, to various sites where they'll learn more about Kong's history. And first up is another shrine in a shipwreck, this one showing the arrival of the iwis to the island. This triggers another tripping session for this guy, where he goes off his tits and sees how the iwis were greeted by the last two Kongs, the strongest of their species and the only ones to survive till this point. Upon leaving the shrine, the group are attacked by this thing, and this is SirenJaw. It's a colossal crocodilian predator that has trees growing across its rocky back, which is how it attracts its prey. It lurks under the surface with only its back protruding, so it looks like a small island, and then when birds land to roost, it snaps them up. But good old Kong deals with it as only Kong knows how, and a whole bunch of other creatures show up to feed on the carcass. The group escapes and travels through the boneyard from the movie, or the Valley of the Fallen Gods as it's known to the iwis. And, like in the movie, our group is attacked by skullcrawlers before taking refuge in a cave, which turns out to be the Kong den, so to speak, and this was the site of the Kong's last stand against the skullcrawlers. Kong's parents managed to hold off the skullcrawlers for long enough for his mother to give birth, meaning that Kong was literally born into battle. His mother hid baby Kong behind some rocks while his father held off the skullcrawlers, meaning that Kong was only able to watch the skullcrawlers kill his parents right in front of him. And here's a cool line.
The hate, the rage, the fury kindled inside him that day as the source of his power. It makes him invincible.
Get the fuck out of here, this ain't no audiobook. And it only made him invincible till he met Godzilla. But no, seriously, these panels are beautiful, and they're brilliant, and really quite sad. Anyway, the group are interrupted when their rescue Osprey arrives, but somebody fires a fucking missile at it and it crashes. Turns out that the magic tea that this guy was drinking has gone to his head and he doesn't want to be rescued anymore, believing that Skull Island is like the Garden of Eden as opposed to the hellish hellhole the other group members find it to be. You know what I find though is that decisions like this that don't make any logical sense to anybody are kind of easier to take when you're dealing with a graphic novel as opposed to a movie. I think one reason could be that when you're dealing with a movie and you know that there's been millions of dollars spent on this thing, there's been teams of writers and producers building this script up, and then they put in some illogical bizarre decision from one of the characters. Oh, there's a cute little snake. It's really, really annoying. And I guess because a graphic novel is more cartoony anyway, it's much more easy to let it slide. But what we're saying here is that this guy's done so much ayahuasca that he's just lost his marbles completely. He announces his plan to dismantle the iwi's Great Wall and bring down the barriers between the species and... you know, this is what drugs do to you guys. One minute you're rolling down the stairs laughing because you've done too many quaaludes, and the next minute you're unlocking all the cages at the zoo going, be free, be free! Anyway, he's interrupted by a death jackal attack, and the others use it as an opportunity to get away from the mad bastard. They figure out that he's going to make a beeline straight for the remaining seismic charges from the first expedition, and are too slow to stop him doing this. Kaboom! I mean, that totally figures, doesn't it? Now you know how the residents of Amsterdam feel. Like, they've spent hundreds of years building this thing up to be architecturally beautiful and a thing of cultural significance, and then one tourist comes along, tripping major nutsacks, and ruins the whole thing in a couple of minutes. Anyway, the gangly-legged spider creature things are back, and they're actually called MotherLonglegs. Because, you know, Daddy Longlegs, MotherLonglegs, Daddy Longlegs. Do you get it? Because I didn't. Anyway, they're an all-female, self-reproducing species, and there's a theory about how there's trace elements of actual bamboo within its physiology. Trace elements of actual bamboo up its fucking ass! So somehow the flora of its natural habitat has become infused into its DNA. As we've seen, it can use its 8 razor-sharp legs to skewer its victim and suck vital nutrients out of its body, so essentially they drink their prey. They also have a stomach which is open on the underside of its belly, so it can let down these muscular tendril things we saw in the movie and pull a victim straight in. Gross. Anyway, MotherLonglegs is the first through the hole in the wall, to which he says this. Do not be afraid! Oh no, nothing scary about this situation at all. But the spider creatures get busy making iwi kebab and sucking people up with their tentacle things. But just when all hope seems lost, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if somebody's going to come to the rescue. Of course, Kong comes to the rescue! And he gets pretty fisty and stompy with the bugs and a little bit squishy and throwy too. And yes, another victory for Team Primate over the hordes of creepy, disgusting, scuffly insectoids. I had a bad experience with spiders once. I don't tell that story much though. Anyway, this dick brain who's still tripping off his tits from too much ayahuasca is like, oh, I can still feel the universe flowing through me, but Kong is having none of his hippy-dippy bullshit and crushes him like a mosquito on a hot summer's day. Try emotionally finding yourself under 10 tons of gorilla fist, buddy! Anyway, when it all calms down, Aaron Houston helps the Iwis rebuild the wall before he puts the recorder with the account of the mission into a boat and sails it out. And we cut back to Daddy Houston, who upon his retirement from Monarch, he mentions his plan to take a cruise somewhere tropical. And we know he's going to find his son. Ah. So I actually really enjoyed this novel, more than Godzilla Aftershock actually, and I was not expecting to. I'd always wondered what happened to this guy after Skull Island. I don't even know why. Like, he's not a particularly important character or anything, but he is quite distinctive, so he kind of just seeded himself in my mind, I think, and to me it was a bit of a question mark. So it was actually quite nice to see that his story actually was followed through the universe. I just hadn't realized it. Whilst Kong losing his parents wasn't exactly a surprise, it pretty much went down exactly how the characters described it in the movie, but it was really beautifully portrayed here in these panels. And seeing an event is always going to be more powerful than having it described to you, even by an actor as good as John C. Reilly. And even though I'm no graphic novel expert, the artwork, in my opinion, in this novel was really, really nice. There's something about the shading and the colour that's somehow really vibrant, but also conveys the murky, muddy, foggy feeling of Skull Island. So this graphic novel really was quite a pleasant surprise. It doesn't give you any new information, it just fleshes out something that was quite quickly glossed over in the movie. And that it does really quite well. So whilst it wasn't great, it wasn't amazing, it was better than I thought it was going to be. And you guys should definitely check it out if you have the chance. Guys, keep an eye out for my Godzilla Awakening review, plus Godzilla Dominion and Kingdom Kong. I'm going to try and have those out really soon. In the meantime, get out of my head, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Cheerio, bye!